Hello, Stormy Television. How are you? Perfect. We're going to get started in a second. Hello, Ma. How are you? Hey, Ashwin. How are you? Give everyone about a minute or so to turn up, and then we'll get right on with doing the next questions. Hey, Ice Cream. How you doing? Not doing too bad. Hope you guys are enjoying your Easter break. Getting some work done, hopefully. Hey, Evie. How's it going? Okay, I think we'll get started. Actually, no, we've still got a bit of time. Okay, and what we're going to do today is... Hello, Sky King. Famous on Mitchell. Hope you... I don't know about famous, but yeah, it did blow up quite a bit. To get a grade 8, I was 8 marks off 7 last time marks. Yeah, definitely. Like, you're going to improve a lot more in these next few weeks than you have in quite a while. Because there's, a lot of pressure. Hey, Spytex. Okay, so I hope you're all doing well. We're going to finish off this grade 3 paper. That's grade 3. Grade 9 paper. And after that, we actually have a few, submitted questions. So just so you guys are aware, you can actually email in questions to me and I'll go through them either in this lesson or the next lesson. So we've got 2 of them, as you can see on the side, that we'll go through at the end. I left it late to do English, Lit and Geography. Have I left it late? You've got time. Yeah, definitely not grade 3. GCSE coming in 3 weeks, mad stressed. Don't worry about it. Honestly, you're all going to be fine. You've all done some revision. Just try and work and do the best you can, right? Because at the end of the day, you can, you can't wish the time back, so you may as well just try as hard as you can in order to get whatever grade you can. Can I email you a chemistry rate of reaction tangent question? Jesus Christ. Sure, why not? I haven't done chemistry in a while. Should be fun. Okay, so let's get started with where we left off. So if you remember, we did question 14, we did it. We kind of said we would kind of leave that one. And we came up to this question. This question is actually quite interesting. So the diagram shows part of the graph y equals x squared minus 2x plus 3. And it says by drawing... Actually, I'm going to scroll out slightly. By drawing a suitable straight line, use your graph to find estimates for the solutions of x squared minus 3x minus 1. Now, you might notice that the 2 equations are actually different, right? Which is, a bit more interesting. So what you're going to have to do is work out what the equation should be. So I'm going to write x squared minus 3x minus 1 equals 0 over here. 10 questions are basically the same in both maths and science. They are basically the same. So I can write this in terms of this, right? Because all I'd need to do is do x squared minus 2x minus x. Can you see that minus 2x minus x makes minus 3x? Yeah? Now I have plus 3 here, but I want minus 1. So what I'm going to do is do minus 1 plus 4. Or instead do it the other way around. Actually, might be a better way of doing that. So plus 3 minus 4. So can you see all I've done is I've broken it up so that we have both equations in the same one. The x squareds match. 2x minus 2x minus x gives me minus 3x, and then plus 3 minus 4 gives me the minus 1. Okay. Now I'm going to move. Yeah, but one equals 0 and the other equals... There's no value. Yeah, so what I'm trying to do is, normally in questions like this, what they do is they give you like x squared minus 2x plus 3 equals 4 or something like that, and then you're just plotting the graph of y equals 4. But in this case, we don't know what they want us to plot. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to change this equation here into this equation, so I can see how it works, right? From here, all you need to do is move everything that isn't x squared minus 2x plus 3 to the other side. So I'm going to add x to both sides. So we get x squared minus 2x plus 3 minus 4 equals x, and then add 4 to both sides. Okay. X squared minus 2x plus 3 equals x plus 4. So this is what they normally word the question as in the GCSE. So the reason why this is a much harder question is that they haven't told you what the graph's meant to equal to. This is higher, it's not further maths, yeah. So it's just regular GCSE higher maths. Okay? Any questions about that so far? So normally they'll just give you the bit in yellow and say, go on and have a go. The reason why this question's a bit harder is because they haven't given you that. You just need to work it out. This is really important if you're going to do A-level maths as well, because this is how they normally give it to you. So hopefully that makes sense. So all we need to do is sketch the graph of y is equal to x plus 4. Why transfer over the x and 4? Good question. So I want to write this equation, right, like this equation here. Okay, because if you look at the actual equation they've given me, it's x squared minus 3x minus 1. The only graph I have is x squared minus 2x plus 3. Yeah. Okay, so you're not sure how you can actually transfer the values over when you don't know the unknown. Yeah, that's very true. So normally, in questions like this, they'd just give you like an equals 0, right? And they'll ask you to like write down what the solutions are. In this question though, because they've changed the equation, right? They've changed what it is. I need to find out what the graph was actually equal to. So if you look at this here, can you see I can rearrange it to give me the original question? So all I've done is I've written the original question in a different way. Does that make sense? So this thing here is the exact same as this thing here. That's how I'm allowed to change it. I'm not allowed to change this graph, you're 100% correct. But I am allowed to change this equation into this one, because again, it still looks fine, right? I haven't actually changed the equation, I've just split it up into multiple pieces. Yeah, so this would be solving quadratics on a graph, would be the topic. Are there any questions about that? Does that make a bit more sense? Yeah, so solving equations graphically. So all I need to do is, I already have this graph, I have the left-hand side drawn for me. I'm going to draw the right-hand side. So now all I need to do is draw a straight line graph with x plus 4. So I know it's going to cross at x equals y equals 4, because that's the y-intercept. And now I'm just going to sub in values. So when x equals 1, I can see that y is equal to 5. Hey Abby, how are you? And see where they overlap. Exactly, Evie. Perfect. So I know it's going to look something like this. And I've actually brought my ruler with me. And unfortunately, I can't do the ruler precisely because of the... I'm good, thank you. Enjoying the half-term break. Okay, so now what I'll have to do is look where it crosses the... where they intersect each other, okay? So, if I look here, we have that value, and we also have this value. So, I can zoom in to have a better look. Obviously, you can't zoom in, you'll have to use your eyes. So that's minus 0.2. So it goes up in 0.2s, right? So this is minus 0.2. It's just above that, so I can say it's minus 0.25. Or sorry, minus 0.3. And this one would be 3.3. Hi, so basically, are you putting the equation in the first one? I'm confused. Yeah. Okay, so I thought this question might be a bit confusing. So let me write out the original thing, right? Right, that's the equation they're asking me to solve graphically. Okay? The thing is, this is the equation I've been given. Yeah, Evie, that's a really good way to put it, actually. I'm working out the translation needed to make the graph the same. Okay? And this is the equation I've actually been drawn, right? Now, the only thing I can do is write this graph here in terms of this graph here. So the best way to do that is to write x squared minus 2x, right? Now to make minus 2x into minus 3x, I need to minus another x, right? So those two things are still the same. Now I have minus 1 here, right? Or I have plus 3 here, and I need to make it minus 1. So I do plus 3 minus 4 equals 0. These equations here are exactly the same, right? Because I can simplify it to make the same thing. If I simplify this equation, I get this equation. Okay? So far, are we okay? Then all I did is I moved over the extra bits to the other side. Perfect. Are there any instances with index notation where you don't apply the index to the integer? No. Not if it's inside a bracket. Okay, perfect. We have an unknown and a 0. So the reason why we're doing it is because the reason why we can do it is because there's no like rule of maths that says we can't, right? I've done everything's mathematically fine. In terms of why we're doing it is because when they ask you to solve an equation like this, you have to draw. So okay, it says by drawing a suitable straight line, right? Which means I'm not allowed to draw this quadratic, right? I'm not allowed to because it's telling me to draw just a straight line. That's why I'm doing this. I'm trying to work out what the straight line's going to be that I need to draw. Because obviously I could draw just the actual quadratic itself and work out the answer. Okay. Yes, so Abby, I'm working from last question backwards. So we're using y equals mx plus c, yeah. But in this case it's x plus 4. Do you then just take the equations away from each other? Yeah, pretty much. So now my two values are just minus 0.3 and 3.3. There you go now. Yeah, I think that was a pretty tricky question. How did you get y equals 5? Oh, so for this part here, I'm trying to sketch this graph, right? So I just subbed in values. X equals 1, y equals 5. Hey, Revan. That make sense? So all I did was subbed in actual values. So I subbed in x equals 1 to get y equals 5. Okay. So. By the way, Revan, the questions that you submitted, I've got them on the side. I'm going to come to them at the end. Do you have any resources that tell you every type of question that came up or could come up? Yes, I do actually. I've made a spreadsheet for that. Or Maths Genie, yeah. I have a spreadsheet as well, but Maths Genie is a pretty good one. Okay, so for question 12, we have an interesting error interval question. So in these lessons, we've... Yeah, so to plot the graph itself, Adam, you need x and y values. So for this, we have an error interval question. Now, we've done a few different types on our live lessons previously. So we've done truncation and we've done rounding. But if we read what this question says, right, it says she used a calculator to work out the value of a number. The answer began, right? Now, if you notice, it hasn't been rounded and it hasn't been truncated. Yeah, so Abby, what you're saying is if it's rounded to 1 decimal place, right? But don't forget, it hasn't been rounded at all. What they're basically saying is, right? She works out a number, so I'm not exactly sure. Let's say 47 divided by 6, right? And she's saying that the first two values are 7.8, right? So 8.3. There we go. Well done to the guys in the chat. So the smallest this number could be is 8.3. And the biggest it could be, not inclusive, is 8.4. Because it could just be 999 going on forever. So yeah, well done. Well done, guys. Very tricky question. They deliberately tried to trick you there, okay? Which is not very nice, not very cash money of them. Didn't read the question properly? Yep. It's not truncated. So when you truncate something, you just remove the decimal completely. Can I put in a request for a question? Absolutely. So if you want, you can either email it to me, and we'll do it at the end of the lesson, or you can just type it in. So calculate is always truncating. Not quite. Truncating is when you literally get rid of the decimal. So if I were to truncate something like 7.45, when I truncate it, I literally just get rid of the decimal. Are there any real differences between AQA and GCSE? No, there's no difference really. Most of the questions we did previously were AQA, and the ones that get submitted tend to be AQA, but in terms of these being Edexcel, it really doesn't make a difference. Not too sure, Zam. But technically you're just truncating to one decimal place. Yeah, essentially. Yeah, that's correct, Spytex. Next one, so this is looks like a probability question. So Merrick has 9 cards, there's a number in each card, so it's just 1 to 9. Okay, cool. They take at random 2 of the cards, the product, which means he times them. Work out the probability that's an even number. Edexcel makes... these questions are weird. Yeah. So these papers are produced by Edexcel, yeah. Am I? Wait, lagging? It says my connection's fine. It says my connection's fine, but I'm not sure. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Anyways, so we have to work out the probability that this is an even number, right? So there's 2 ways to do this, one of which is a shortcut, right, for probability questions. The other is a bit more long-winded, okay? So you could literally work out the probability of getting even number. So how can I get even numbers, right? I can do 2 evens times by each other. I can do an odd and an even times by each other, right? The thing is, that's pretty long-winded, and it's difficult to know all of the different combinations. So here's one of your spec points, which is really important, which is the sum of probabilities adds to 1. So when I multiply 2 numbers, there are 2 possibilities, right? I get an even, or I get an odd number. Okay? Do you count all the evens and odds first? So you could do that, but this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to work out the probability of getting an odd number, and I'm going to do 1 minus it, because the probability of getting even plus the probability of getting odd will add up to give me 1, because they're the only 2 possibilities. Okay? So, what's the probability of getting an odd? The only way to get 2 odd numbers... Sorry, the only way to get an odd number is to multiply 2 odd numbers themselves. So the probability of getting odd, all we do is we count how many odd numbers we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So that would be 5 out of a total of 9 cards. Then we multiply by getting another odd number. So how many odd numbers are there now that I've taken 1? Well, there's only 4 odd numbers, and there's 8 total numbers. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay, good. Which would be 20 over 72, which you can probably simplify. Well, no, you definitely can simplify, but that'd be it. Okay. So now the probability of getting even is just 1 minus that. You don't need to work out all the outcomes. I'm actually done right now. Which actually, you know what? We should probably use a calculator just to simplify this. It doesn't say to give it in the simplest form, so we don't have to. But, you know, good practice. 13 over 18. To work out all the outcomes. You don't need to work out all the outcomes. You could do that, right? Like, I can work out every possible outcome, but just as a hint, there's actually going to be 72 total outcomes. That's correct, Justin. So he takes out a card, he takes out 2 at the same time, so he doesn't put them back. Unless it says they return them, you don't assume they put them back. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense. Okay. And yeah, that's a 3-mark question. Pretty quick. Not too bad, I think. Okay. So prove algebraically that the straight line... What would you do if it was all 4 methods? Worst topic to come up? Maybe probability, maybe? Okay. What could you do if it was all 4 methods? I'm not sure what you mean by all 4 methods. Yeah, vectors is pretty tricky too. Vectors or probability is probably the difficult ones. Okay, so prove algebraically that the straight line with equation x minus 2y equals 10 is a tangent to the circle with equation x squared plus y squared. X squared plus y squared equals 20. So when I think of a tangent, right, it only touches the circle once. They don't say the circle's at the origin? They don't need to in this case. It's actually implied, right? So if you don't have any numbers next to x and y, it's implied. Yeah. Okay, so all of you are thinking perpendicular. That's good, right? Because when you're working out the equation of a tangent, you're going to use the fact that it's perpendicular to the radius, right? That's good. But if you look here, we need to prove that this equation is a tangent to this equation. Okay? So, a tangent only touches the circle in one place. So what we're going to do is show that if we were to solve these simultaneous equations, there's only one answer. Okay? So basically we're going to work out where these 2 curves or straight lines intersect and show that there's only one. You first need to get it in the form y equals mx plus c, then make the gradient perpendicular. So that would be for the equation of a tangent, okay? So I'm just going to try and solve this and work out what the solutions are. If there's only one solution, it is a tangent, because tangents only touch circles in one place. Hopefully that makes sense. But if not, let me know. Okay. So to solve this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rearrange this equation for x. So that would just be x is equal to 10 plus 2y. And I'm just going to sub it straight into this equation here. And rearranging. This is grade 9, yeah. Thank God you ain't doing A-level maths. Yeah. Yeah, simultaneous quadratics. That's exactly what it is, basically. Yeah. Okay. Maybe in future videos we'll tone it down to grade 7, but yeah, who knows. Anyway, so if we solve this, I'm going to sub it in. We get 10 plus 2y squared plus y squared equals 20. Hey Sarah, welcome. We're just finishing off this paper 3 and then doing some questions that have been submitted to my email. Keep it grade 9, fair enough. So then we're just going to expand and simplify this. So 2y squared is going to be 4y squared, be plus 20y, so plus 40y, plus 100, plus y squared equals 20. Okay. And yeah, so I'm going to move the 20 over to the other side and also combine the 4y squared and y squared to be 5y squared plus 40, plus 40y plus 80 equals 0. And now we're going to solve this equation. So if we divide the whole thing by 5, we get y squared plus 8y plus 16 equals 0. So we're looking for 2 numbers that times to 16 and add to 8. That's going to be 4 and 4, right? Okay. So if you look, I only have one solution. Y equals minus 4. Where's the second line from? This part here. I expanded the brackets, but I did it all in one. You'd watch for grades. You'd watch for grade 7. Okay, a couple of people. So, sorry, Lena, is it this part here that you're unsure of? If so, all I've done is expanded this bracket. So, if I do that a bit more slowly, maybe this. 10 times 10 is 100. 10 times 2y is 20y. 2y times 10 again is 20y. So then when you combine it all together, you get 4y squared plus 40y plus 100. So that's where that came from. So these three terms just come from this. Yeah, it's FOIL. I just did it all in one go because So Revan, this isn't the answer, right? Because what I need to do now is work out what x would be, and x is equal to 10 plus 2y. So x is equal to 10 plus 2y. So x is equal to 10 plus 2 times minus 4. You can put that into a calculator, but it equals 4. So the actual answer, because keep in mind it's a proof, is that there's only one solution. Solution, so must be a tangent. You have to write the last line. Do you do any OCR papers, or do you only stick to... as far as I'm aware, OCR papers... I haven't done any OCR papers, but the question should be relatively similar. Would it be x equals plus and minus 2? Not quite, no. We don't need to... We're actually only getting one solution for this. How'd you get x equals plus 4? So, all I've done is when I've got y equals minus... Whoa. Okay. When I've got y equals minus 4, I've subbed it into this equation. Won't x be 2? Sorry, yes. You're right. Man. You're right, yeah, it's 2, it's 2. My bad. X is 100% 2. Can you show... So, the reason why you can't just show that x squared plus y squared equals 20 is because that would be proving that it's an equation of a circle. Yeah, I think it's the moon. Instead of writing the last sentence. No, you'd need to write this last sentence because the whole point of this is to show that there's only one point of intersection. Which question like this? Fair enough. Okay. 2, 4 must be a tangent. Yeah, because it only crosses once. I think so. 3 marks. Okay. Do you have to work out the x? Yes, you... You know, you're right. Technically, you wouldn't have to work out the x. But I would, just for the sake of completion, just to be careful. Same for every type of this question? Yep. If they ever ask you to prove algebraically that it's a tangent, you do the same thing. So yeah, for this question, it's scale factors. How do I know it's scale factors? Because of the word similar. Similar always means scale factor, 100% of the time. And it says the ratio of A, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to write A to B, and then this for volume, is 27 to 8. And it's asking us to work out surface area, okay? Now, the fun thing with scale factors is that volume is just the cube of the length scale factor. So I can work out the length scale factor by just cube rooting the volume, okay? So cube root of 27 is 3, cube root of 8 is 2. So the way I got that is I just did cube root of 27, cube root of 8. Was that? You do cube root them both, yeah. You have to do both. Then for the area, all we're going to do is square it. So we have 3 squared to 4 squared, to 2 squared, which is 9 to 4. Okay? Yeah, so it's area, so you need to be careful with that. So now it tells me that the surface area of cone A is 297. So I'm going to write 297 underneath the 9. And I want to work out the surface area of cone B. Right? So all I do is I ask myself, what do I times 9 by to get 297? So all I'm doing is I'm timesing by 297 over 9. That's what my kind of proportion is. So all you ever do is you take this number, divide by this number, and that's what you're timesing by. You do the same thing on the other side. Okay. So give me 1 second. I'm going to... is this the right one? Yeah. So this is the paper. And any tips on how to get to grade 9 from grade 7? So the biggest difference with grade 7 and grade 9 is being able to problem solve. So in the questions so far, the actual maths isn't that bad, but it's knowing what to do. So I'd recommend just practicing as much grade 9 stuff as possible. This is a calculator paper. It's paper 3. Yeah. So if you're doing maths this year, then maybe, but then if you... Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So technically Edexcel make these papers, but keep in mind that the exam boards have to have the same specifications for GCSE. Which, by the way, is why all of your exams are on the same day, no matter what exam board you're doing. So I'm going to do 4 times and then 297 over 9, which is 132 as it asks me to work out. Nice 3 marks, hopefully. How long do we have left? We have half an hour, more than welcome. Okay. Well, I see it's 5 marks. Okay, I'm going to zoom out slightly just to give us more space. Yeah, that's exactly what I did, Spytex. Will they get formula sheets in GCSE? So, the exam board, so Educast, the person that kind of, an off-call, sorry, that oversees all exams, have said that they don't have to give you formula sheets in GCSE Maths. So it looks like they're not going to give you it this year. How do I access more of these grade 9 papers? This is where I get them from. Yeah, so keep in mind, the exam boards have said they don't have to give you one, but I think for some exam boards they are giving one. Okay. Oh yeah, so what I'm saying is they don't have to give you one every year, but I think this year they said they are. At least Edexcel is. Yeah, so Edexcel does, yeah, there you go. All I was saying is that they don't have to give you it. Okay. Perfect. Then yeah. The school I work at does AQA, and they said AQA is going to. So, question. Yeah, so anyways. So with a question like this, some of you already already said that we're going to have to do Venn diagram, and I 100% agree with you. What we're going to do is do a Venn diagram of French, German, and Spanish. Ugh, that's not the best, but whatever. Oh, that is a fantastic drawing right there. And so the reason why we wouldn't do a two-way table is because it won't give us enough of the overlap. You've done this question, is easy, good. Do a three-way table, a three-dimensional table. I wouldn't do a table. I would definitely use this because Venn diagrams are designed to show overlap. Okay, so we have a bunch of information here. The first one I look for, 1 second, sorry. Sorry about that, my throat seized up. Anyways, is I'd look for the overlap one, okay? So look for the all one, which is the French, German, and Spanish, because that's going to be right in the middle, because they study all 3 languages, the maniacs. Then I can't really do the French one yet, so you look for whatever one has less of an overlap. So in this case, French, Spanish, but not German would be a good one. So French, Spanish, but not German would be this part here, and that's 4. Yeah? Then, so I want to tick it off as I go along. 7 people speak German and Spanish. So German and Spanish is here. But keep in mind we have the 2 already. So it's 7 minus 2, which is 5. So the total overlap between German and Spanish should be 7. Okay. Section. Cool. Then you have 7 people speak German and Spanish, which I just did. So I just read the same thing twice. 8 people don't speak any languages. Cool, that's outside the Venn diagram. That makes my life a bit easier. Then it says all 10 people who speak German speak at least one other language. So, right here, there's no one in this section here at all. This is 0. So 2 plus 5 is 7. So we need to get to 10. So there's another 3 people in this overlap here. Okay. If you had boys and girls learning different languages, do you use two-way tables? Yeah, probably that would be best. Yeah. And then it says 31 people speak French. So in total, in this whole circle, there should be 31 people. So if we do 31 minus 4, because we have 4 here, minus 2 minus 3. 22 people speak only French. Great, wonderful. And that leaves us with, so I need to get rid of that. And we've done this. Now, the best language is French. Okay. Yikes. But anyway. And then we have to work out how many people just speak Spanish. So all of the numbers in this Venn diagram should add up to 50. Right? So what I'm going to do is do 50 minus every other language, every other number. Minus 22, minus 4. So those two, minus 2, minus 3. I really don't need to use my mouse to do minus. Minus 5, and then minus 8 will give me how many people speak only Spanish. Yeah, 50 minus the total. You're 100% right. It's just that the total would be 22 plus 4. So I'd do it the other way as well. So 22 plus 4 plus 2 plus 3 plus 5 plus 6. 42. And then 50 minus the total. Same thing, yeah. I just do it that way for some reason. How often do I live stream going through papers? Every single Tuesday at 6 p.m. Can I have your Emporium account? Emporium? Okay. So now it says 2 people are chosen at random. Work out the probability that they only speak Spanish, both of them. So how many people only speak Spanish? That's 6. So the probability of the first person only speaking Spanish is 6 out of 50. Now, after they've picked one person, they can't pick the same person twice, right? So there's only 5 other people that speak Spanish only, over 49. Where do I get these papers from? I sent it earlier in the chat. Hey, Nithika. So, let's do it. We've got 6 out of 50 times 5 out of 49, which gives me 3 over 245. So where do you lie in the Venn diagram? Out of these 3 languages, I learnt German in school, but I suck at it. I currently know Spanish. So yeah. And alright, they're gaining views. 75 views, man. This is way more than it usually is. I look like Vsauce a bit. I'm going to take that as a compliment. Ich bin dick. Yeah, well, I am fat. Well done. Okay. Can I do your son's homework? I mean, yeah, sure. Ooh. The check, please. So I actually have quite a few questions sent in. So let's do some of those now. Actually, wait, is there any other question we want to do? Okay. We can do this question as well, right? He's on the recommended for some reason. Really? Oh, that's funny. I thought you meant I was on the recommended, but that's pretty funny. Go through 7, please. Yeah. Okay, no worries. Number 7, please. Okay, cool, let's go. Okay, this looks a bit funky. So they show one big triangle and then one small triangle. Okay. They give us a bunch of the lengths. That's fine. D is the point such that the angle of this... So this angle here is 2/5 of this angle here. Calculate the length of DC. Yeah, you're on my recommended. That's how I found you. Hey, perfect. Nice. Okay. So, to me, this is a sine/cosine rule question, right? So technically the lowest this could appear is grade 6, because it doesn't appear in foundation. Is it cosine rule? We're going to use the cosine rule first, yeah. So, yeah, I think we're going to use both, because they want me to work out this length here, right? The length of DC. I can't do that straight away, because if I just look at this small triangle here, I only have one side. So I can't use the sine or cosine rule to work out anything, because I only have one side. It's not enough information. However, if I work out this angle, I'll immediately know this angle, and therefore know this angle, because angles in a triangle add up to 180, which means I can use sine rule. Yeah, so I think that's what makes sense. So let's use the cosine rule, which states 18 of GCSE Maths students probably did the job. Yeah, so the sine rule is a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a. Now the way I do the cosine rule, I don't bother labeling the sides like the way you would. Cos A is just the angle you want, always. And then the other side, so the side here, is always the opposite side. That's how I remember it. So in this case, because I'm looking for the angle at C, my A is 3.4 squared. So you might think, well, what on earth is B and C? Well, the funny thing is B and C, it doesn't matter which way round you do it. Will the cosine rule be on the equation sheet? I think so, yeah. Yeah, we're going to rearrange the formula, absolutely. So B and C, it doesn't matter which way round. Okay? So either way round you do it, it's going to look like this. And quadratic, it's not going to be quadratic, it doesn't matter. Okay? So the sine rule looks like this. So you use it when you have a pair of side and angles. Or you can have it the other way around, of course. I'm so bad at rearranging no matter how much revision I put into it. It is a lot of practice. I can't remember if we did a lesson entirely on... So these are all the lessons we've done. Yeah, I don't think we did rearranging equations. But oh yeah, we did. Rearranging harder formulae. So it should be on there. It should be on the YouTube channel if you go back. Cool. So, if I rearrange this... Okay, you know what? Let's work out these values. No worries. So 3.4 squared, let's work out what that is. Personally, I would rearrange it first, but just for those of you that are a bit unsure of rearranging, I'm going to do it a bit more carefully, okay? And then we're going to work out what 6.1 squared plus 6.2 squared is. So 6.1 squared, there we are, is 75.65. And then we have 2 times 6.1 times 6.2, which is 75.64. Okay, so I'm going to move this 75.65 to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 75.65 from both sides. So if I do 11.56, we get 64.09. Sorry, negative 64.09 equals minus 75. Okay, I messed that up. Alright, 5.64 cos A. So that means cos A is just equal to... Both minuses cancel out because there's minus on both sides, it doesn't matter. And then I'll just work out what that angle is. Don't finish the question. To be fair, like, you can do these questions relatively quick, but it's good that he's posting what his answer is because he can check it afterwards. Actually, I'm assuming it's a he. Sorry. Oh god, 75.64. God, fat fingers. So it's 32 degrees, right? Or let's do 32.08 degrees. So that's what this angle is here. 32.08. Yeah? You're a he? Yeah. Perfect. Now this angle here is 2/5 of that angle. So I'm going to times it by 2/5. $12.8 degrees. Hold on, I've seen your query. 75.64. Yeah. No, so don't forget I've subtracted the minus 75.65. They're very similar numbers. Really similar, but they are different. I've moved this to the other side, so all that's left is this part on the end. Okay. So, from that, I can work out what this angle is here, because all angles in a triangle add up to 180. So I'm going to do 180 minus what I just got, minus 32.08, which gives me 135.1 degree. Man, what is wrong with me today? It's the nerves. Nah, anyways. So if I were to draw this triangle out again, right, just to make our lives a bit easier, because I've kind of ruined this diagram. If I draw the exact same triangle out again, right? That's 12.8 degrees. That's 32.08. And this is 135.1 degrees. And we want to work out this side, right? Are there vector proof questions in this? I think there was last lesson, but not this. Now we just do the sine rule. Yeah, exactly. So we have an angle and its opposite side, and we want to work out this side and we have its opposite angle, so we can use the sine rule here. So we have 6.2 over sine of 135.1 equals whatever DC is over sine 12.8. In terms of my maths GCSE, I got either an A or an A star. I genuinely don't remember. And so that means DC is just going to equal whatever this is times by sine 12.8. So 6.2 over sine . Do you do further maths A-level videos? No, not at the moment. But I did normal A-level maths videos, and the thing is, people don't really watch them, or they didn't watch my ones anyway, so I stopped doing them. So in terms of further maths, that's even more specific. If there's a demand, then sure, I'll do it. I just want to help people. So whatever is like the most useful. So 1.95, which is exactly what you got. Well done, S. You watch me next year. Perfect. So I won't lose all my subscribers at the end of June, yeah? Right. So yeah, 1.95, nice and easy. Oh, thank you, Sky King. Much appreciated. That's a pretty beefy question. 5 marks. Okay. We can keep going for a bit more. Yeah, it's fine for people to ask questions. It's totally fine. It's intended. Okay, good. So I'll have a few of you guys next year. That's perfect. Well, the next 2 years, right? Because A-levels is 2 years. Okay. Okay, guys. Stay focused. This is function. I'll say sub though because this content is beautiful. Oh, much appreciated. I'm probably going to diversify into other types of videos too. But anyways. Take a little further. Yeah. Okay. So, we have two functions, f of x is 5x plus 3, g of x is ax plus b. And it tells us that this information, we need to find the value of a and the value of b. So, if I look at this, Pretty tricky, right? I don't know what to do yet. So what I'm going to do is use this information. So they've told me that g of 3 is equal to 20. So let's sub this in, okay? So g of 3 would equal a times 3, because remember we're replacing x with 3, plus b, and that should equal 20. So from there I get 3a plus b equals 20. That's my first equation. And I can't do anything else yet, right? So I'm not going to do anything else. Okay? We get a functions lesson. I think I did a functions lesson before. Yeah, I did a functions lesson a few weeks ago. So you can look back at that. Now, for this next piece of information, I have to do two things. Okay, I have to work out the inverse function of f of x. Okay? Hey Java Jones, how are you? So, how am I going to do that? Well, to work out an inverse function, so I'm just going to write inverse function here. I'm going to write the exact same function, but with a y equals 5x plus 3 instead. When there is a something to the power of minus 1, you do the reciprocal. And then what we're going to do is rearrange for x. So y minus 3 equals 5x. And then we have x is equal to y minus 3 over 5. So the inverse function, all I do is I replace x with f minus 1 of x. And I replace y with x. Okay, cool. Alright. Hopefully that's fine. Oh god, my voice is cracked. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to sub in 33 into f of minus 1. So 33 minus 3 is 30 divided by 5 would give me 6. Okay. So, g of 1 is just equal to a plus b. And we know that that equals 6 from this piece of information over here. So far, any questions? How many marks is this? It's a 5-mark question, Abby. And well done, Zam, for getting it. Okay. So now I have two equations with two unknowns, which means it's just simultaneous equations. So, little MP, which bit do you want me to repeat? The thing I just said? So, all I'm doing is using this information here. I know f minus 1 of 33 is 6. And we have g of 1 here. So, a plus b should equal 6. Okay. So, yeah. We have 3a plus b equals 20. So, all I do is subtract the equations. We get 2a is equal to 14. So, a is equal to 7. Sub that back into here. We have 7 plus b is equal to 6. So b must equal negative 1. And that's it. 5 marks. I can send it again if you want. Don't worry. To this specific paper. I should probably just put it in the description actually in future. Just do not fall behind and you're behind. Okay. Your brain's too small for this, Hannah. No, it isn't. It isn't. It's fine. It's fine. This is grade 9 stuff. Okay? So it's meant to be difficult. I'm just going to double check we're right. What question is 6? Your teacher marked it wrong? That's... Yeah. I've opened the mark scheme and A is definitely 7, B is definitely minus 1. I will say that even at my school, a lot of maths teachers, not including myself of course, did mark incorrectly. So yeah. There's only going to be about 1 or 2 of these difficult questions in our actual exam. Yeah. Yeah. So this is just for those of you that like, you know, want to practice. But if you practice grade 9 questions, even if they don't come up, you're still learning quite a lot. Yeah, of course not me. I never mark anything incorrectly ever. Will there be an AQA series before the exams? What do you mean? Yeah, it's mostly grade 9, yeah. I mean, basically what it is, in my opinion, it's an aiming for grade 9 paper. So what that means is they give you the most difficult questions of any given topic. Another question? So I'll answer one more and then we have to do the questions that got submitted into the thing. Actually, grade 9 AQA exam questions. I've got a few of those uploaded individually, but AQA don't upload their own grade 9 papers. So I've only got individual questions. In fact, are they still functioning A-level maths? Oh, hell yeah, yeah. Can you do the hardest one on that paper? Yeah, sure. So I'm just going to go through the questions that were submitted. So we've got 2 here, and we've also got another one from Sky King. So I'm just going to quickly copy that one over as well. And all right, we'll just move that down a bit. So we'll do these questions now, quickly. I probably need to move this along slightly. Okay. So it looks kind of fun. Here is a different solid sphere and a different solid cone. So we have this sphere, yeah, cool. Their surface areas are the same. That was my wallpaper. I got 71. Okay. A quadratic binomial with 2 variables. I don't believe so, no. So, by the way, this is part 2 of the paper. So we did the last few questions last week. Okay. The only thing... So, wait, who sent this in? It was... Oh, God. So, Revan, does it tell you in the question anyway what h is? If not, I'm going to have to assume that h is the height of the cone. Because in this question, it doesn't actually tell me what it is. The second question was on my inbox as well. They didn't have h in the question. Okay, h must be the vertical height then, right? It has to be. Yeah, okay. That's really annoying, actually. They should always tell you. Wow, I just did that, didn't I? Yep, cool. Okay. Can you send a question if you don't want? Yeah. So you can email them in and we'll do as many as we can. I do have to go soon, but let's just try and get through as much as possible. So what I would do is I want to write this in terms of h. Okay, first of all, hang on. The surface areas are equal, right? Geometric sequences are in Edexcel, yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to say that 4 pi r squared is equal to pi rl. But then keep in mind, that's not the total surface area. This isn't the total surface area. That's only the curved part. So you have to add the area of the bottom part, which is pi r squared. Yeah. But they did have a very similar question with... Oh, okay, yeah, sure. Fair enough. Does that make sense? So, straight away, I'm going to cancel out the pi's, because if there is a pi in every single term, you can just get rid of them. I can also get rid of an r in every single term. So I'm left with 4r equals l plus r. Cool. Sorry, the email, yeah, that's a good point. Again, I think it's in the description, but I'm going to type it out for you again. Sorry. Okay, so that's what we have so far. Now, if I look at this, to work out an equation for h, right? I need a bot? Yeah, I do. I don't know how to do that stuff, Evie. Jesus Christ. It's a right angled triangle, right? So h squared plus r squared equals l squared. Okay? So, ooh, I've just had an idea. From this, by the way, we have 3r equals l, right? £500 in your... Thanks. My type speed is insane. It's not that quick. Okay. From here, what we're going to do is we're going to sub in this. So I'm going to square both sides to get 9r squared equals l squared. And then I'm going to sub in this equation here. So I have 9r squared equals h squared plus r squared minus r squared from both sides, and we get 8r squared equals h squared. R is 1, isn't it? You can't work that out. Yeah, there's no way for you to work that out, really. Square root both sides, and we get square root 8r equals h. So the ratio is just going to be root 8 to 1. Okay. Inflations make it at least £650. Jesus Christ, guys. When did this turn into me paying you lot? Yep, that's Abby's question over there. We'll do that in a minute. I don't even know if the guy that asked this question's in. Quickly explain it again, yeah. Yeah, no worries. So I'm going to assume up to here is okay. Wait, so actually, S, is up to here fine? We do a part 3 next week to finish off the rest of the paper. I think I have to. Okay, you're not sure. Okay. No, that's fine. From the beginning. Okay. Do you need to simplify it? You don't, because it does say to leave it as an integer. That's a really good point, though, Jones. Is that normally I would simplify, but it said here ends in integer, so I've left it as root 8. So from the beginning. Okay. Okay, let's go. We know that the surface areas of both of these shapes are equal. Which one is it? It should be... I think it's set 1 or something like that. I can send you the actual paper itself. Here's the actual paper. Okay. So we know both the surface areas are the same. So I've just written 4 pi r squared, because that's the area of the sphere, is equal to pi rl, the curved area, plus pi r squared, the part on the bottom. Does that first bit make sense? From there, because there's a pi in every single term, I can cross out the pi, and I can also cross out one of the r's, because pi and r is in all of the terms. Okay. So if you like, I've divided by pi r. Okay. Cool. So that's a good point, Evie. I'm going to go through that in 1 second. You've spotted something and I've just spotted it as well. I'll go through it in 1 second, I promise. Okay. From there, I just get 4r is equal to L plus R. So I've minus R from both sides. I get 3r equals L. Okay. Now, in the question, it says I want R to H. So I want to just do... I want an equation that just has R and H in it. So to do that, I need to get rid of L. To do that, I've used Pythagoras to get an equation for L. Right? Because H squared plus R squared equals L squared because of Pythagoras. Which gave me this. Which I then just subbed into the equation to get this. So Revan, I think this is the final answer. But there is a problem with it. Which is kind of frustrating me. Hang on. Yeah, it is. Because I've basically given the answer as H... Sorry. As R to H like this. The problem is it's asking you to give it as 1 to root n, where n's an integer. This one... This is what it says. That's what it says. So the thing is, I would have to divide both sides by root 8, right? Which gives me 1 to 1 over root 8. And then, if you want to put it in a calculator, just to make this a bit quicker, 1 over root 8 is root 2 over 4, right? It is correct. Okay. Because the thing that confuses me is that isn't an integer. You did your tuition, yeah. I think the question's a bit wonky. It's a bit weird. I think it should have been the other way round. I did rationalise. But it won't give you an integer if you have to rationalise the denominator. That's the problem I'm having. Mid-question, to be honest. n is 8. Yeah, so little MP, I agree with you, but Evie pointed out something, and I think other people did as well, that it's not technically in the right form, because r should be 1. Yeah, so pi r squared, because it's not the full surface area of the cone. So, yeah, so Sky King, you're making a very valid point, and it was kind of confirmed by little MP. I believe the question was a bit wonky. I think that this ratio should have been the other way round. I think they meant to put root n to 1. Yeah, that's what I think that they've done wrong in that sense. Unless I'm wrong, but I really don't think I am. Shockingly. Okay, let's go through the next ones because I'm getting a bit hungry. So, we have geometric sequences. Cool. And we need to work out the first term of this sequence. Am I from Brum? No. Is that Birmingham? Can they reimburse you for marks if they make mistakes? Oh yeah, it's happened before. It's happened before. And they've had to reimburse marks. Yeah, so if I root 8, it just gives me 2 root 2. So it won't really do anything. Anyways, it has happened before. I know that for a fact. So we have this geometric sequence. Now, the way I do geometric sequences, it's not technically on your spec, and you use it a lot more in sixth form, but basically I use this equation here. Some of you may have seen it, some of you haven't. Okay? If we don't get the exam back, how do we know if the examiner's made mistakes? That's a very good point. Someone has to, hope, basically. So, A is just the first term in the sequence, and R is the common ratio, which is what we need to work out. So, they give me this information here. The fourth term is 5 root 2 over 4. So, I'm going to sub that in. So we have AR to the n minus 1, so that's 4 minus 1. So that's AR cubed is equal to 5 root 2 over 4. And then for the sixth one, we have AR to the 5 equals 5 root 2 over 8. Where did I make a mistake? Anyways, so this is my equation 1, this is my equation 2. Oh, yeah, you can. You can have more than one equals in a line. If you want, you can just ignore this bit here. Anyways, so I need to move this question down a bit. Yeah, I've just... All I'm going to do now is I'm going to... Okay, explain it one more time. Okay, so because the equation is AR n minus 1, the fourth term would be AR to the 4 minus 1, so AR cubed equals 5 root 2 over 4. The difference isn't R squared. Okay. R is the common difference, but we don't know what R is yet. And same thing here. Where'd that equation come from? It's the equation for geometric sequences. I fully acknowledge you guys may not have seen this before. Okay, cool. So now if I divide the equations, I get AR5 over AR cubed equals this divided by this. So I'm going to use a calculator for this just to speed things up because, like I said, hunger is besetting me. We have 5 root 2 over 8. That came up in your mock, bro. Yeah. The mocks were very tricky, at least at my score, so I'm going to assume that they were tricky for you guys. A half. Can I show you in the GCSE way? Yeah. So the GCSE way is you should have just recognised that to go from the fourth to the sixth term, you would have had to do the common difference twice. So cancel that down. So you would have gotten the same thing. It's non-calculator? Alright. I'm hoping you guys could have done that without a calculator. Fine. Alright, fine. Fine. Keep flip change, so we're going to keep the first thing the same. Yep. Change it to a times and make this over this. Those two things completely cancel. That cancels to a 2, that's a 1, so you get a half. Okay. Alright. It is indeed, Java Jones, well done. So then R, well, what's the square root of a half? It's a quarter. Okay? In case you weren't aware. Wait, hang on a minute. No, it isn't. It's 1 over root 2, sorry. I don't know what I'm talking about. Root 2, like that. I meant the square, but I got that bit incorrect. Yeah, 1 over root 2, my bad. I had a complete brain fart. Okay, so now I know what the common ratio is. I can try and work out the first term. So doing it in the GCSE way would involve dividing this by the ratio to the power of 3. The hunger is setting in, indeed. Okay. So again, I would again use my method, but so if I look at this equation here, I know what the ratio is now. It's 1 over root 2 cubed equals 5 root 2 over 4. So let's... What are you going to eat? I have no idea. I might order a pizza. Anyways, what would be the best way to do this? Okay. So this is a over root 2 cubed, right? Over 4. I can cancel a root 2 with one of those root 2s. So I'm going to times both sides by root 2 cubed. Okay? So times both sides by root 2 cubed. We get a is equal to 5 root 2 to the power of 4. So that might not make sense, and I fully accept that. I've times both sides by root 2 cubed. Okay? I need to set up a tipping page. Way too far, bro. What? Okay. And that would give me, so, root 2 to the power of 4. Is it 3 marks? No, I don't think so. So anyways, so that would be 5 over 4. Root 2 to the power of 4, so root 2 squared is 2. So root 2 to the power of 4 is 4, right? So a is just equal to 5. Good lord, that was a long question. It's a 3-mark question. I do have a PayPal, yeah. I just don't use it really. Okay. So 3 marks. Wow, really? Interesting. I wonder if there's a shorter way. If there's a shorter way, I'll try and show you later. How can I donate to you? I don't have a donations thing at the moment. You guys just need to focus on your GCSEs. Don't worry about that, okay? If you get a 9, you'll send 50 quid. Compound division. Yeah, you could do compound division. A-level further maths. Just keep up with the work. Honestly, that's all you need to do. Can you do my YouTube? I don't think so, because I'm not monetized at the moment. Oh, good point, Dario. Yeah. Actually, yeah. So you see the common ratio is it's dividing by 2 squared, essentially. Yeah, that makes sense. So what Dario just said is pretty clever. So if you notice, to go from this to this, they've divided by 2. So that means they're dividing by the square root of 2 each time. So what school do you go to? You need a pay rise? I mean, that's fine. Don't worry about it. I don't know what paper this is from. This was just submitted in to me, Edward. So you have to ask, I think it's Revan X2 who asked that. Okay, for these last 2 questions, you know what? Let's try it. I can probably get rid of. I want to get rid of this for now. Geometric sequence. It's not grade 9, but that was, probably up there. Okay. So here are 2 right-angled triangles. Tan E is equal to tan F. Okay, this question's a bit deceptive, okay? Yeah, no, that's fine, Abby, don't worry. With this, all you have to do is know that tan equals opposite over adjacent, right? So if you look here, this is the opposite side, that's the adjacent side. This is opposite, this is the adjacent. So all you need to do is say that because both of the tans are the same, you have x over 4x minus 1 is equal to 6x plus 5 over 12x plus 31. Okay? This question I'm not... what question would it be? Maybe a 7? A bit higher? Yeah. 7 or 8. Something like that. So all you need to do is solve that, which... Abby, is that okay? Would you be able to solve this? Yeah? Perfect. Okay, and lastly, but certainly not least, we've got Sky King's question. I just wanted to double check who did that. I do actually have a Discord, by the way. I just haven't really put much in it. Anyways. Soon be used a method. I mean, this isn't even... By the way, if you guys want to leave, you're more than welcome to, because this is technically a chemistry question. So, yeah. So basically, it's a rate of change question. Determine the mean rate between 2 and 4 minutes for a course. Oh yeah, it is chemistry, yeah. Okay, so since it says mean, so Sky King, with this one, probability question. I'll try and do that one as well. So how many hours will I be doing a day? As many as I could without getting tired is probably the best way I can do it. So maybe do like an hour and a half, then take a 30-minute break and keep repeating that. But you have to see how you feel on the day as well. So Sky King, with this one, I am fairly certain you actually need to draw 3 separate lines and then take an average about it. So you'd have to draw a line at 2 and at 4 and then take the average of those 2 things. Yeah. So you draw like a straight line at 2, so something along the lines of this. Then draw another one at 4. Find the gradients and then just find the mean of it, Sky King. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. Oh, good lord. You have someone to DM me. Right, fair enough. Alright, so there are 10 pens in a box. 3 of them are blue, 5 are red, 2 are green. Is there any way to rotate images in this damn thing? No, of course not. Work out the probability that there's still more blue than green. Okay. Okay, so this question, all it's saying is work out the probability that you get 2 reds. And sorry, who sent this? Yumita. So the reason why is because if I take anything other than red, can you see there wouldn't be more blue than green? Right? Oh yeah. So for the paper we did today, Sharon, there is, but for these questions, no, because they're just submitted in from random students. So can you see the only way there can still be more blue than green is if we get 2 reds? So all you're doing is working out the probability of getting 2 reds, which is just 5 out of 10. And then because we've taken 1 red out already, times by 4 over 9. Why red? Yeah. The reason why red is because in the question it says work out the probability that there is still more blue than green. If I take... Oh no, there is another way, yeah. I could take a green, 2 greens as well, or a green and a red. Okay. A graphics tablet is worth it? Yeah, I think so. They're pretty cheap. They're only about £30. And you can do them online. It's much easier. And then you don't have to print stuff out. And where do I download my PDFs? Mostly the exam board websites. You can't see? Yumita? So just input it all. Yeah, so one way is to have 2 reds, right? What app do I use to teach you right now? This is OneNote and I use OBS for streaming it to you. The only other way we could do it is get 2 greens, or you can have a red and a green. Okay, so 2 greens would be 2 out of 10 times 1 out of 9. And lastly, 5 out of 10 times, which is 10 over 90. So I probably should have left that as 20 over 90 then. And then you add that all up. Oh, sorry, the video's over the text. Yeah, sorry. My bad. Is it the best way to do it? I'd say so. So my answer is then just going to be all 3 of those numbers added together. Which is 32 over 90. Nithika, if you send me the link, I'll post it in the chat. Wait, Nithika, if you email me the Discord, I'll put it in the chat because I think, yeah, it's annoying. Basically, it says that you've sent it to you, like, on your screen, but on everyone else, I didn't see a link either. And then after this, we're going to go, where's my Discord? It's called... That's a good point, actually. I'll show you. Basically, I have a Discord channel for this, but no one's in it at the moment because I didn't finish setting it up. But yeah, this was a probability question. Yeah. So the second I get sent the Discord thing, I'll put it in the chat, and then we'll finish up the lesson today. It's supposed to finish at 7, so that's fun. But yeah, no worries, Yomita. But yeah. We'll leave it there. We'll probably... Actually, let's actually double check. How much do we have left? So you have this question here. Okay. This question. Pie chart. We can do it if it's interesting. Yeah, sure. I'll join and you can give me ownership if you want. Did you email me the link, by the way? He ain't fasting, bro. Okay. Did you? Wait, Nithika, did you email it to me? Or... I haven't gotten anything. Yeah, I haven't received it just yet. Could you try sending it again? And then, to this one here, the Mitchell.education. Oh, there, got it. Alright, perfect. Put it in the chat and then I'll join and there you go. You should be able to see the chat. I think you just click on it and then it says open with Discord and then do all that fun stuff. Okay, so I think that's where we'll end it. If you just click on the link, it should just let you join, no? You're very welcome. Perfect. Okay. Well, I hope you guys have, enjoy the rest of your Easter break, and we'll have another lesson same time next week. Thank you. I'll try and have a nice meal anyway. You're very, very welcome, Ice Cream. Thank you. You're very welcome, Nithika. You're welcome, Sanj.